So my name is Tommy Aquilina, and I have with me Madison Warfel from the Hofstra class of 2020, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So former field hockey player, now a coach at Wagner, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. So I just want to talk mostly about your time at Hofstra and your time at Wagner. You've obviously, so you're there, right? Like, have you started coaching officially?
Yeah, we're about 2 weeks in. Stuff's a little bit weird because we have a bunch of different rules since COVID, but we started 2 weeks ago, so it's good.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So current coach at Wagner, Madison Warfel. And the first thing that I wanted to ask you was actually going way back. How did you become interested in field hockey in the first place?
In the first place,
Mm-hmm.
I knew I wanted to play sports, since I was little. I always thought soccer was my sport, but it turned out I wasn't actually very good at it. So I was kind of trying a bunch of different things. I tried gymnastics and field hockey, and I really enjoyed field hockey, so I kind of stuck with that ever since middle school. And then I started playing club and high school, like year-round field hockey, and that's kind of where it started to pick up for me.
So then you played obviously in high school, and then why did you decide to go to Hofstra for your college career?
So I was visiting a bunch of schools, and when I came to Hofstra, I got to do an overnight visit, and I met all the players on the team, and I just felt like I got along with them really well right away. And the campus is in a great location, like close to New York City, and I'm from Pennsylvania, so it was like a change of setting, and that was something that I was looking for, as well as like the campus is really pretty and the facility for the field hockey team is nice, and it was kind of everything that I wanted. So yeah.
Awesome. So then what would you say was your favorite memory from your time at Hofstra?
My favorite memory, like field hockey wise, was just my senior season. I got to play forward, and I kind of had a breakout year, which was really awesome. And our last game of the season, that was the best game for my team as a whole that I think I ever played. And we got to beat Northeastern on their senior day. So that was like an awesome win for us. And it was just a really great vibe with my whole team. And like, that's one of my favorite memories was like our last game, we went out with a bang, and it was one of my favorite times.
So then the next thing that I wanted to ask you, kind of going off of that, what's the thing that you're most proud of in your field hockey career?
I think I'm most proud of the fact that like I'm someone who on my team, like they looked up to me as a leader, and they felt like they could come to me and talk to me about things that were bothering them, or they could ask me questions. And I was really like someone they could rely on. And that's kind of the role that I wanted to be. So that's something that I'm proud of, just being someone people could count on and look up to.
I noticed that all of your answers are very team focused, and I know that as a player you were mostly focused on the team. What was the thing that you would say individually is maybe your favorite individual accomplishment?
My favorite individual accomplishment, probably the fact that I was captain my junior and senior year, and that just kind of goes off like I want to be myself, someone people can look up to and respect, and that's just something that like since you get voted into that on our field hockey team, like I know people see me that way, and that's something that I'm really proud of myself.
Um, Going off of that, then, how do you think that being a captain when you were a player is going to help you now that you're a coach?
Yeah, it was a good transitioning role because as a captain, you gain the confidence to kind of say stuff to your teammates, give them coaching points, like use your own experiences, and you can talk with them and help them to do better. And that kind of gets you into the teacher role as for being a coach. And really just gives you kind of like that experience before coaching where you're already talking to people who are good players as well, and you just get that little bit of connection and learning how to communicate with them.
Yeah, what were some of the bigger lessons that you learned as a captain? Like they say that teachers learn more from their students. What did you learn kind of from being a captain?
I learned a lot that the actions of other people, even if you're not doing something yourself, still affects your team as a whole. And especially if you're a leader of that group of people, that's going to reflect on you. So you have to really look out for them and kind of offer guidance if you see something going on that really shouldn't be. And I think that just teaches you accountability and to be accountable for people who kind of look up to you.
So now, what are some of the main differences between being a player and being a coach?
Yeah, so being a player, you learn your role, and you don't ever really want to like stand up to your coach or like be too like, as a leader, as a player, you want to follow your coach's kind of philosophy on what you're like explaining to other people. But as a coach, I'm getting to develop my own philosophies about how I think things should be done on the field and like how you should communicate with your teammates. So that's kind of like a cool change that like I get to implement things that I think, and that's the like main difference.
So you definitely don't want people to stand up to you now that you're a coach?
I would, if they disagree with something that I'm saying, I'm open to a conversation, but I think like there's a time and place for it, and it's not always like right in the heat of the moment to have that kind of argument with someone who's like in charge of you.
Mm-hmm. Now, that's true, but how important do you feel that it is being a player and now going right into coaching for there to be an open dialogue between the coaches and the players?
That's definitely something that's really important. As a player, like I always wanted to have that relationship where if I felt something was off, I could come to my coach and have an honest conversation with them. And that's kind of how I want the players that I'm coaching to be able to come to me, especially since we're close in age. Like I want them to be able to come to me with problems and like ask for my advice since I just kind of experienced it. Yeah.
So now you did go right from being a player to being a coach. How and when exactly did you get this coaching job?
Yeah, so after my season ended in November of 2019, I, took like the 2 weeks off or whatever, and then I actually was volunteer coaching at Hofstra with the coaching staff there and kind of coaching the people who had just been my teammate and kind of learning the ropes. And I kind of gained experience that way, and then I was applying to different positions, like kind of all around, just to see like where I could test the waters at. And I went on a couple interviews, but me and Nikki, the head coach here at Wagner, we kind of hit it off, so it was a good fit.
Now, you mentioned your head coach, Nikki. What is your official position? Like, what's the actual title that you have?
Yeah, so I'm the assistant coach here, and I'm also a grad student, so I'm taking classes at the same time.
What did you major in at Hofstra, and then what are you now doing at Wagner?
At Hofstra, I dual majored in criminology and sociology, and now I'm getting my MBA in finance.
So, so how has that been basically? Like, how has postgrad life been? Because now you're obviously a graduate student and a college graduate and also a coach at the same time. A lot of things on your plate. Obviously, a lot of things going on in the world as well. How's that all been?
It's been a little bit rocky, especially with like COVID, and we didn't really actually have preseason in August since the girls couldn't come back to campus. But since we got here in September, we couldn't come back in July for preseason, and but since we've been back, kind of learning to balance the responsibilities of a coach and like working with the girls who are on campus as well as the ones who are off campus, we still have an open dialogue with them, and they do drills and stuff at home and send us videos, and kind of balancing that with my schoolwork and taking classes that I haven't really taken before is like kind of a juggling act, but I'm getting in the swing of it, and it's been going well recently.
How has your relationship developed with the players on the team? Has that been a smooth transition as well?
Yeah, I think it's still kind of growing, those relationships. We've really just kind of started getting into doing small groups of practice because we've just had to focus on mostly like conditioning, which we can do socially distanced because of COVID. So it's probably not as quick as it could be, but we are building those relationships, and like I have meetings with them, and I proctor their study hall hours, so I get to like see them outside of field hockey as well, which is cool.
Talking with Madison Warfel, former field hockey player at Hofstra University, current assistant coach for the Wagner field hockey team. Now, the next thing that I wanted to ask you, what part, obviously you've been coaching for a little while, but what part of coaching were you most looking forward to before you began? And what kind of things are you looking forward to about the season actually starting?
Yeah, so I was really just looking forward to being able to like spread my knowledge at Hofstra. I like had a really kind of unique opportunity to play on every line other than goalkeeper on the field hockey team. So I feel like I have a lot to offer, and I just really want to like help people to be the best player that they can be and inspire them to want to be the best player they can be. And looking forward, hopefully we'll have a spring season and kind of get to have games and stuff, but we're kind of feeling out how that's going to be. But as of now, we're just doing practice this fall, and I mean, still getting to just be on the field. I'm really excited for that because I missed it.
Could you explain for people what challenges would a spring season as opposed to a fall season bring about?
Right. Well, because we have a water-based field, we can't really do cold weather. So any time that there would be snow would be tough. And the pipes it can be too cold to use them actually. So probably we'd have to wait until March to start like watering the turf and stuff, which is kind of a challenge. But as far as for like a bunch of universities all trying to have all their fall sports play in the spring, it's a lot of like scheduling conflict, and obviously like it's going to cost a lot more than usual for one spring semester to have all those sports going at the same time. And it'll be hard for the facilities people and the trainers, and it's kind of just a lot of extra stuff that needs sorted out.
Going back a little bit to your time at Hofstra, how do you think that your experience at Hofstra University will benefit you in your coaching career?
Yeah, so I had a really great experience at Hofstra. I feel really lucky to have went there and met all the people that I have, and I made some great connections with the staff and all the people in the athletic department, which I know they would always have my back if I needed anything. And just from field hockey, I learned like all kinds of useful things like time management and like accountability and responsibility, which I think is really important to have as a coach, especially because you want to, set the example, and you have to be the things that you're asking for. So.
And then what will you miss most about playing field hockey at Hofstra?
Definitely just before the games, being with your team in the locker room pregame is like a really special time, and all the vibes and just hyping each other up, and the whole warm up, you're so excited to play a game. I'm going to miss it a lot, and I'm still going to have that kind of excitement to be coaching games, but it's just going to be different. Like it's going to be me and Nikki and the other assistant coach, Caitlin, kind of hyping each other up and, not playing on the field, just kind of encouraging from the sideline. But that's the main thing that I'll miss.
And now looking forward for Hofstra fans, how do you feel about this season or the upcoming seasons? Obviously, there's a lot of questions in the air, but whenever the Hofstra field hockey team returns, how do you feel about their chances?
There's still a lot of strong players there and a lot of my friends, and I really hope they do great things. We originally had a game scheduled against them for September, but it got canceled. So hopefully we'll get to play them if there is a spring season or even next fall and kind of see how we stack up against them. So
Madison Warfel, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate your time.
thanks for having me.
Thank you.